watching Gearz, brought to you by LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, customize.
You know, there's no doubt that a classic truck is a great project to get into because they're cheap, they're easy to find, they're easy to get parts for, and you got all kinds of body styles to choose from things from the 30s all the way to the 70s. But one body style that's almost always overlooked are late 50s Fords, because most people think that these things are just dog ugly. But a customized late 50s Ford is very cool, very unique, and is definitely worth the effort. Case in point, this 59 Ford Stepside. Now this isn't your typical 59 Ford, because this is being put together by a group called Herobox, and they've asked us to help them. Now you're probably wondering, Herobox? What's Herobox? Well, you need to check this out. You guys glad to get this out of your shop?
Yes. See if it's working.
It's amazing how light they are with no interior.
Oh, yeah.
What is the idea behind Herobox? What is this organization?
Well, the idea behind Herobox is to support our heroes who are away from home, defending our freedom. And so we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports them. Our mission is to provide the physical items and the moral support while they're away from home, defending our freedom.
Now, physical items, what does that mean?
Physical items are actual items that we can pack up and ship to them, and they can receive. Most of it's basic items that you wouldn't think.
Like what? What is in a Herobox? I open it up, what do I find?
Sure, the top 3 items that are the most commonly requested items are food, hygiene, and entertainment.
As you can see, the guys have already done a bunch of work on this thing. They got a ton of new sheet metal from LMC Truck, like floors and cab corners, and they basically reconstructed the whole bottom of this old cab. LMC also supplied all new bushings and steering components, a front disc brake kit to help this thing stop, as well as a bunch of accessories to make the 302 engine sparkle. Okay, now that we have the major, which is what they're calling this project, we are going to tackle this bed, because this can be a major problem area on an old truck project. Now, as you can see, all of the metal work is pretty much done on the bed sides. It's painted this flat green color, which is very cool. It's the color the truck's going to be. The problem is the bed floor, or in this case, the lack of it. So we are going to fit some wood in here that is going to complement this green color. Now, believe it or not, LMC Truck has a wood bed kit for almost every truck out there, including the 59 Ford Stepside. Now take a look at this. All the kits come with top quality oak planks with the shoulders and the grooves all cut into them for the skid strips. They're cut to the right length, and they're all pre-sanded, so you have very little prep time before you put your finish down on here. Now, the kits also come with the stainless steel skid strips, which in this case have been primered black because the Herobox guys are going to paint these the same color as the truck. Then, of course, you've got all kinds of stainless steel hardware to put this thing together. This is how you do it. The first thing you need to do when you're fitting wood into a bed is to square up the bed and pre-fit everything. Since no two beds are alike, especially after years of use, this is the most important step, and you should be prepared to spend some time here getting it right. I hope you don't mind tight spaces.
Can't breathe.
Don't be surprised if you need to bend some metal and make some notches and trim some ends and drill some holes to make it fit. Once you've got everything fitting right and all of your hardware just drops right into place, then and only then can you put your finish on. So you get to take it all back out and lay the wood out in a way to to where you have great access to the top and the sides, and you can still roll it over and work on the backside. Now, since the wood in these LMC kits is so well finished, all you have to do is lightly sand it with some 220 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out. Now, once all your sanding is done, then it is time for your finish. When brushing on your finish, make sure that you go with the grain, and don't forget to do the bottom and the sides and the ends of the plank too, since this is where moisture can get in and ruin your wood over time. Hey, welcome back to Gearz, where we are in the process of refurbishing the bed on this old '59 Ford Stepside for the Herobox organization. Now, as we've shown you before, the Herobox guys are doing a good job bringing this old truck back to life. But what may surprise you is that none of them have ever restored a vehicle before. So they are literally learning as they go, like a lot of you guys are. And it has been a great journey for them. Check this out.
We found this in a barn in South Georgia. It's been sitting there about 30 years. And at first we were going to kind of rat rod it. We didn't have a lot of experience or know how to do this. And a lot of people saw what we were doing and kind of came on board and pushed us in a different direction. So we're going to put a lot of time into this and take it around car shows and really raise support for our mission and the troops. We got it painted, so we got a little more body work and finishing to work to do on the cab and the front fenders and the hood. And we'll be in paint in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Now, since we wanted to help Herobox out and support what they're doing, we've already fit a really nice wood bed kit to the bed. We're just waiting for that to dry. So it's the perfect time to turn our attention to other areas of the bed. Okay, most people realize that these old truck beds are just a single piece of sheet metal, so they're really easy to dent up and damage when you throw junk into it. And since the Herobox guys do plan on throwing things into this bed, it would be really nice if there was some way to protect this bed and still keep it looking good. Well, there is a way to do that. Come on. This is brand new from Duplicolor, and it's a do-it-yourself bedliner kit called Bed Armor. And one of the reasons they call it Bed Armor is it has Kevlar in it, which is exactly the same thing they use in bulletproof vests. So yeah, this stuff is tough. Now, it's a water-based polyurethane that you can use to protect wood, metal, or fiberglass. And as you can see, come in here, you have got rubber particles right in the paint, which means this stuff is going to stay very flexible and be extremely impact resistant. So you can pretty much throw stuff in the bed and it's just going to bounce off of it. Now, as you can also see, you also have a special roller, trays, paint brushes, and all the stuff you're going to need to put this on. The first step is to make sure the bed is clean of all dirt, grease, and grime, and then scuff the surface with the included pad. Now, this will make sure that the bed armor gets good adhesion to the surface. Next, you're ready to tape off the bed, and this keeps the bed armor from getting into areas you don't want it in, because once it dries, it's not coming off. To put on the bed armor, it's just a matter of mixing it up good. Whoa, that's some thick stuff. Pouring it in the tray and rolling it on. The unique texture of the roller allows the rubber particles to spread out uniformly over the surface to give you superior protection and a great look. For most beds, you're going to want to put on at least a couple of coats. Once it's dry, all you do is pull off your tape and you are ready to go. Now, one of the cool things about this bed armor is that it's paintable. So if you want this to match the color of that, all you do is spray the paint on it and you're going to have this color with the texture. Now, I know some of you guys are wondering just how strong and how flexible this stuff really is. Well, take a look. This is a little sample here, and you can see it doesn't get much more flexible or rubberized than this. Now, Duplicolor designed this stuff to be a bed liner, but it would also be an incredible undercoating or sound deadener for your fenders or the bottom of the vehicle, and it's affordable. So you literally can undercoat the whole vehicle and not put yourself in the poorhouse. All right, all we have to do now is reassemble the bed. Yeah, what a difference a little bit of wood makes. Now, what we've got here is a great combination of functional and cool. It looks good, but it's still completely usable, and that is what you want. All right, now that we're done with the inside of the bed, we're gonna turn our attention to the outside. Now, like I said before, LMC Truck has just about every part that you could ever need to restore your old rig, including these original style taillights. However, since we are customizing this truck a little bit, I'm gonna get away from this stock look and do something a little slicker. So what I've got here is a pair of Corvette taillights from 63 to 67 that we got from year one. Now these are really slick. They have the recessed bullet lens, they got the chrome bezel, and they're just gonna look awesome. The problem is, these are worlds apart. So how do I know something like that's gonna fit? Well, check it out. By using a contour gauge, we were able to determine that the angle of the rear fender is an almost exact match to the 63 to 67 inboard Corvette taillight. But that is not all. To go with these taillights, we also got these stainless steel exhaust tips from Style & Trucks. Now this part goes inside the panel. This is the polished trim ring that goes to the outside. Now what we're gonna do is mount these in the lower part of the fender so the exhaust will blow right out the bottom of the fender. Yeah. Now the cool thing is about both of these modifications, all you have to do is decide where you want them and then cut your holes and bolt them in. Hey, we're back on Gearz and taking a look at some of the bed modifications that we did on the Herobox 59 Ford truck. Now, as you can see, the inner bed sides are now protected with heavy-duty bedliner. We have a bed floor that's made up of show-quality oak planks. And, of course, we have custom vintage Corvette taillights and cool exhaust tips mounted right into the fenders to give the rear of this thing a nice, clean look without being too radical so that it doesn't fit in with the rest of what's going on here. The best part is we were able to help the Herobox guys out and get them a few steps closer to finishing up the major here. Now at this point, the truck is going to go back to Herobox and they're going to continue the project. And you can check it out at herobox.org and follow along with their progress. And while you're there, hopefully you will decide to sponsor a hero yourself, because I promise you, this is one thing you will never regret doing, because it does make a difference.
And now, Tool Tech.
When you're working in your shop, there is one thing that is almost always at a premium, and that is table space, because you have got to have a solid surface to work on if you don't want to chase your parts all over the floor. But having a table to lay parts out like this or like this is what most of us have. But if you work with metal, doing some fabrication, you need something that's more heavy duty than that. You need a workstation that will handle some abuse and hopefully not be flammable. But when you start shopping around, what do you find? Well, most of the stuff is pretty light duty. Great for holding boxes, not so good for building radius arms. So what do? Check it out. This is the Miller workstation, and it starts with a big slab of 3/8-inch steel plate for the top, and then that's supported by a square tubing frame, giving it enough strength so you can weld and beat and pound on this thing to your heart's desire. Of course, the table has drawers to hold your clamps and other junk, and you can get a couple of different tops here, like this solid one, or the one with these big slots in it that allow these special clamps to slide in and hold your metal pieces in place and your tubing while you're welding on them. Now, one of the biggest issues that you're going to face with a typical work table is where do you mount your vise? Well, the workstation takes all the guesswork out of that because it has little pockets all the way around the table that allows you to mount your vise anywhere you want in just a couple of seconds. So it's never going to be in the wrong place. If you do a lot of metal work or fabrication, the workstation will quickly become one of your best friends in the shop. And that's what a good tool should be.
Now, quick tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
You know, if you work on cars and trucks long enough, eventually you're gonna have to bend some sheet metal to repair a fender or build a bracket or whatever. And the best way to do that is with a sheet metal brake. But what if you don't have a sheet metal brake or the money to buy one? Well, you can still bend metal like this as long as you have a bench vise and a couple scrap pieces of 2x4. Here's how to do it. All you have to do is take your 2x4s, slide them into the vise, then take your sheet metal, slide it down between the 2x4s, lining up your bend line, keep everything straight. Then when you're ready, just take your thumbs and using slow, even pressure, bend the metal. Then just take it out and finish off the bend with your fingers. And that's it. That's all there is to it. What you end up with is a bend that is just as good as something you would have done with a sheet metal brake. And that goes to show you that sometimes the best tools are just laying on the floor in front of you. Now, if you'd like to learn some more tips about how to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
Parts Bin. Brought to you by Cherry Bomb. Disturbing the peace since 1968.
There's no doubt that building a truck is cool, and building a custom truck is even cooler. But the question is, where do you get all those custom parts to help you build your rig? Well, Style & Trucks has been around for a long time, and they continue to carry some of the best parts in the aftermarket to help you build your vehicle. Check it out. They've got everything from billet grills to wild skull grills. They've got LED lights, they've got tail lights, they've got projector lights. They've got all kinds of accessories, from more modern billet aluminum to things that have a little more of a classic vibe to them. They have engine parts to help you go faster. They've got superchargers, they've got fuel injection units. They've also got hardcore parts like Lamborghini door kits. Now, let's say that you need some body parts. Well, they got steel cowl induction hoods, they've got roll pans, they've got bumper covers. I mean, you pretty much name it. If you have been looking for a custom part and you don't quite know where to find it, chances are Style & Trucks has got it. And the best part is, they're as close as a click of a mouse away. You know, one question that we get a lot is, where do we get all that vintage racing footage that we use on the shows? Well, we have a lot of sources, but one of the main ones is Jackson Brothers Videos. Jamie Jackson, his brother Sonny, and his wife Janice have been around the drag racing world since 1964. Fortunately, when they went to the races, Jamie also took along his trusty movie camera. And he managed to capture not only some amazing drag racing footage, but also history in the making and legends being born. It was a tough job, but fortunately, somebody did it. Now, over the years, Jamie continued to shoot the races along with his sons, Steve and Shane. And over time, they have built up one of the most extensive libraries of drag racing footage ever assembled. The cool thing is, now you can enjoy that footage because Jackson Brothers has put together a whole line of videos specifically for the gearhead. Check them out. You have classic funny cars, you have gassers, you got fuel altereds doing their thing, crazy dragsters, all the cool stuff from the magic era of drag racing. And of course, the wrecks and wild rides too. So, whether you buy them for yourself or give them as gifts, Jackson Brothers videos are the one thing that every gearhead should have in their video collection. So, where do you get them? Simple. nostalgiadrags.com.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Miller Electric, the leading manufacturer of arc welding and cutting equipment for your business or home shop.
Today's What Are You Working On is really cool because it comes from a girl. Yeah, it comes from Caitlin Weidman, and she is from Russellville, Missouri, and she is a junior in high school. Now, one of her projects, check it out, is a 64.5 Mustang, and as you can see, her and her dad have torn this thing apart already, and they're completely going through it to build the car that she wants. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going, yeah, right. Daddy's building a car and the girl's in the house watching TV. You'd be wrong. Here's some pictures of Caitlin working on the car. She loves working on these cars and she doesn't mind getting her hands dirty. But it gets even better than that because she has another project. Check this out. She's restoring a 1948 Ford 8N farm tractor. That's great, man. We got a girl that loves to restore tractors. How cool is that? Now, neither project is finished. Her and her dad are working on both of them. Matter of fact, she goes on to say that her dad's gonna finish the floor pans and do the welding and finish up all the other welding that needs to be done. And then she adds this final quip, hopefully he won't catch on fire again while welding. Way to go, Dad. Outed on national television. As you can see, man, you got a great family thing going here. You got a father and a daughter working together, which is just as cool as a father and son. So, Caitlin, to help you out with this, we're gonna give you a set of welding gloves from Miller and one of these welding jackets. Now, Caitlin, this is for you, but I do recommend that you let your dad use it so he doesn't burn himself all up. All right, the rest of you guys, hopefully this inspires you to get out there and work on something with your dad or your mom or your cousin or your uncle. I mean, there is nothing more rewarding than that, except maybe sending stuff in here and letting us feature it on the show. Now, to do that, you gotta send some stuff in to staceydavid.com, pictures, or write up about it, make sure there's pictures of you, and we'll see if we can get it on the air. All right, that takes care of it. We'll see you next week.